Let's also welcome in now Congresswoman Harriet Hageman. She's a member of the House Judiciary Committee, also on the Natural Resources Committee. Great to see you, Congresswoman. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, is Politico now reporting that Pete Buttigieg will be in East Palestine, Ohio tomorrow? That's the schedule. It's interesting. This comes on the heels of President Trump's visit. I know you've already endorsed President Trump for 2024. Is this why? Because he's always seemingly proactive, while so many politicians like Pete Buttigieg are reactive.
Well, it's one of the reasons why I've endorsed him. But in response to what's going on with both the EPA and Pete Buttigieg, what this tells you and what this shows you is the failure of these federal agencies to actually do their job. They're focused on so many other things that they're not focused on the things that they were actually created for. I have been fighting against the EPA for decades as they've sought to take over things like irrigation ditches, claiming that they're navigable waters of the United States so that they can assert more authority over private property. And then when you actually have an environmental disaster, this is their reaction to it. They don't know how to react because they're no longer carrying out the duties for which they were created. They're becoming dictators and despots to take away private property rights.
Congresswoman, I'd like to get your reaction to some comments from EPA Administrator Michael Regan. He was back in East Palestine again yesterday. He is vowing that the agency will remain there until residents feel safe. That is what he's saying. He's also saying that the EPA is ordering Norfolk Southern, the train operator, to pay for the cleanup. Here's part of his exchange.
But let me also be crystal clear. Norfolk Southern will pay for cleaning up the mess that they created and the trauma that they inflicted on this community and impacted Beaver County residents.
Some may say that's all well and good, but those are words, those are promises. There are people who have rashes. They're seeing dead animals in the creeks, and a medical clinic was just opened yesterday. What's your response to his comments yesterday and the distrust that remains among the people in Ohio?
Well, again, I'm going to go back to what I said a moment ago. This is just an example of the incompetence of these ginormous organizations, these incredibly large agencies that were created for a good purpose 50 years ago, but have become so over-bureaucratized and so politicized that they're not actually able to address the things that they were created to address. So in many ways, it's too little too late for him to be coming in now and talking about this. As you indicated, it's 19 days since the accident happened. Where has the federal government been? We've got a president that's looking at preserving the borders of Ukraine, but hasn't gone to Ohio. You've got an EPA that seems to be floundering. You've got a head of a Department of Transportation where almost every single thing that's under his jurisdiction seems to be collapsing. You've got the problems with the airlines. You've got the problems with air travel. You've got the problems with the trains. You've got the issues with the railroad employees who are not being treated well. You've got problems with us not being able to get trains in the state of Wyoming for purposes of transporting our coal and other products.
And you have Pete Buttigieg acting like he can't be bothered with a simple conversation when he's MIA. A lot of times, it's not the first time, too. We've had questions about his response to some of these things. As we wrap up here, Congresswoman, I want to ask you, too, about big tech and the plans to hold them accountable, the efforts you guys are working on in the Judiciary Committee. Yesterday, we had your colleague Ken Buck on with us talking about how these companies have taken advantage of immunity under this Section 230 and the Communications Decency Act of 1996. Take a listen to Ken Buck here.
So Congress wanted to make sure that these tech companies could take down child porn or recruiting terrorists or other dangerous, selling drugs, other dangerous material from the internet. Now, these tech companies have gone further and they've taken down speech of individuals that they don't like. They disagree with their opinion.
Now, Congressman, we have this Supreme Court case going on. I mean, Ken Buck admitted yesterday the court should not be weighing in on this stuff. It's really Congress's job to do so. Can you tell us about your plans to rein in big tech?
Well, the Twitter files have demonstrated that big tech has been conspiring with this administration and with the Democrats to try to suppress conservative speech. I've said it over and over again. The reason that they have to try to stop us from speaking is because they're not able to actually debate the issues. I do think that it is Congress's job to step forward and fix this and make sure that these companies are not able to violate our First Amendment right to speak and to hear.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. What they're promoting sometimes is questionable. Also, what they are suppressing, questionable as well. Congresswoman Harriet Hageman from the great state of Wyoming, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Congresswoman.